Hello, Lou. Guess who's coming to dinner? Happy Friday. Thank God it's Friday. I know everybody's been ripping and running. I know I have. You know, you think after you got a certain age that you kind of slow your roll a little bit. Man, I got more stuff to do. I got 6, 7 plates. You know, my mother worked in the hotel industry. You know how waiters carry 2, 3 plates on each arm at one time. This has got to stop. But today is a very special day. We've got some things going on in the city. Today is Give Good Louisville Day. Now, this is the day when you can make donations to nonprofit organizations in the city that you think are doing the heavy lifting, that are doing good work. We got AMPed, we've got Goodwill, we've got Sickle Cell Association. I know Miss Orr would be terribly upset with me if I didn't tell you that you need to include Sickle Cell Association in your giving. And this is a good time when it doesn't have to be a lot. You know, they take, small donations just like they take big ones. But today is the day. It's called Give Good Louisville Day. Someone else reached out to me. Miss Sandra Robertson reached out to me. She's on a team out in Southwest Louisville. And they're also asking for donations today for projects that they need to have happen out in that section of the city. But that's what today is. Give Good Louisville. So if you've got even if it's not discretionary funds, you got some extra coins over there, just give. It'll make you feel better. I know I'll get busy when I'm finished with my show today. But today is kind of special because I have a young lady who's a part of a team that they bring us Louisville news. They're our BET in Louisville. So let me present to some and introduce to others my soror, my girlfriend, Miss Denyce Maxwell. Hello, darling.
Happy Friday, Janis.
How are you? How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic.
You look fabulous, darling. I said,
thank you.
Earlier we said, we had to put on our red. We had to represent. That's what Absolutely. We do. That's what we do. But I wanted you to come on the show because I'm trying to get into your game, into media, and share with our audience and especially for me, the African American community, because we need a voice. We need a presence on a daily basis, a weekly basis, not just on the news at night when sometimes, most of the time, it's not good. We need to be shown in a much better light, and because we have a much better light to show. Would you agree?
Absolutely. I concur with that assessment.
Oh, look at that. Well, Denyce, tell me, how did you all decide to come up with Urban Lifestylez?
Well, basically, Janis, I would say it was spearheaded by Max. He has a lot of creativity, and he worked in the radio and TV industry, so he knew how that game works. Okay. And then one day, we were watching TV, and he says, "Do you realize that every time something, locally we're going to talk about comes on the news in regards to the African American community, it's always negative?" And I'm like, "Yes, you're right about that." And then he was working at a television station, and I think one of the managers there at the station had said they were looking at bringing something on board in regards to African American type shows. And so he knew how to put it all together because, like I said, he worked in that industry before. And basically, Urban Lifestylez was created in October of 2008. And basically, the purpose and the design behind it was to spotlight a lot of positivity within the African American community, here in Louisville, and then also to present to Louisville what's going on the landscape, even, nationally as well. And that's what we do.
I know. Well, it's wonderful to be able to get up on a Saturday morning and tune in and have my coffee with you.
Oh, well, thank you.
And you bring me up to speed in what's going on. Because Louisville, we have a lot of events, especially in the African American community, that they don't. If you all don't tell us about it, sometimes they don't get focused, or if they're not in the Louisville Defendant, they don't get the kind of exposure that maybe they need. How do you think that our African American community can become more involved as far as letting you know when a new business is coming up? How do they go about doing that?
Basically, Urban Lifestylez has a Facebook page.
Okay.
And there are people who reach out that way. And sometimes people may reach out to Max on Facebook. I really don't do Facebook, although I have a profile, and just let us know. Or sometimes we may pass by some place and go, oh, did you know there's a new restaurant opening up? Or I may have some friends to say, hey, we tried out, let's say restaurants for this particular reason. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know about that. So we should spotlight this so people know. And I'm surprised by sometimes I may be in like Whole Foods and there will be some Caucasian, people. Once it was this lady and she goes, aren't you on a TV show, Urban Lifestylez? I'm like, yes. And she goes, oh, I learned so much. I didn't know about this and that.
Right.
And one time, because my career has always been in medical and pharmaceutical sales. And so my territory, for instance, was down in E-Town, Elizabethtown, Kentucky. And I was sitting in one of my doctor's waiting rooms, waiting to go back and call on him. And it was an African-American lady. And she says, you're on that show? I'm like, yes. And she was way past, lives in Bardstown. I didn't know that the viewing had reached that far.
Audience, yeah.
And she was saying, what she has learned. And I'm really surprised. And a lot of friendly people say, hey, I watch it, I've learned. And so we've been around for going on 13 years.
Wow. Congratulations. That's wonderful. That's really wonderful. I hope that I can be around that long.
You will.
Until I'm going to do this till I get tired.
Yes.
Until I get tired. But I wanted to see, so what are some of the things coming up this month? I know this month is Sickle Cell Association month. And so are there any events, any blood drives that you know of, any events? I heard, wait a minute. I heard next week we got Charlie Wilson coming in town.
Yeah.
Get out
that. Phenomenal entertainer.
Uncle Charlie.
I would have to say, by you mentioning him, Janis, is that the show has afforded us an opportunity to be able to reach out. I mean, you were in entertainment in Vegas and all these places. But for me, and to bring it into the homes here so we could peel back the layers so people could see up close and personal. I had the pleasure, Charlie Wilson, to interview him. Okay. And being able to interview celebrities, be them local or national, is pretty cool for me. And he is a great man. What you see on stage is what you see. And you probably already know this about him, that I found most gracious. And what is surprising to me, though, in, let's say, interviewing like national celebrities, the celebrities that are really high up on the echelon, those are the ones who are most down to earth and humble and gracious. The celebrities who really are at the lower rung of the ladder, they are the ones who are really come off.
They got attitude.
So, yeah. And I'm like, these disturbing rumblings come across in my head. I'm like, it's not really even warranted with you. But that's some of the interesting facts that I've learned in regards to having the opportunities because of the show and being able to interview people. And that's like one of them. I would say the nicest national celebrity that I interviewed was Nick Cannon. Down to earth.
Wow. I love Nick Cannon.
I was very nice guy. Very nice.
Even though he's kind of out there, he's really kind of grounded in who he is.
Very much. That's a good word. Grounded.
Yeah.
Very much so. And authentic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me, what are your plans? Do you have any new plans for 2022 with Urban Lifestylez?
Basically with Urban Lifestylez, is still to share and interview and get the stories out there to share. Like this week, I think coming up on the show, we will interview a young man who is a great tennis player. And he was born with a physical challenge, I would say, with his arm. And he's a phenomenal tennis player.
Okay.
Just his story. I love the human interest stories.
Right.
Right here in Louisville. Who knew?
Right.
And just opportunities seem to fall in our lap. But there are some things that are organized and structured that we do try to be able to interview if we can. Sometimes we can't do an interview because of our schedules are the photographer's schedule. So it's not that we pick and choose. We try to do as much as we can, but still working and the photographer working, and everybody has their own life. This is not the sole medium of providing a living for us. It's not.
Right.
That's the only thing, but it's just capturing from human interest stories to new businesses opening up to new things entertainment wise. And, right now, and I think a lot about COVID. And so my brother, Dr. Lamont Golston, he's working on a project where they did a questionnaire in with the health department. Okay. So and this questionnaire and the results from it. So that's one thing I'm going to next have him on the show so he can talk about it. He and some of the other medical counterparts. So.
Oh, that sounds interesting. Mm-hmm. Well, tomorrow there's a big block party. I guess it's going to be on Muhammad Ali between 17th and 18th. Mm-hmm. And they're having, it's from 2 to 8, I do believe. The reason I know about it is because I do a presentation for Goodwill with the RISE program. And they're going to have a they're going to rock the runway tomorrow at 5 o'clock. And the young lady that runs that program, Miss Tina Ashby, she's over that. And I did my presentation yesterday. So evidently there's going to be vendors down there. I guess it's in conjunction with the Kentucky Center for African American Heritage, called 17th and 18th. Okay. And then we've got Sweet Peaches, that business that just reopened. Okay. So I just wanted to let you know, in case you didn't know about that going on tomorrow, because I know that I'm going to maybe try to stop by and support. Because there's a whole lot of stuff that can be going on in this city, and we have to kind of pick and choose where we're going to go, when we're going to go. But, we always try to, and I know that you and Max do the same thing, try to support as many of those events as possible. But I just want to say, well, thank you for spending some time with me. We had our little girls' day out a couple of weeks ago, and I want you to know how I thoroughly enjoyed that.
As did I. Yes.
Just getting to know you and finding out all the things that we have in common, and sharing tea with each other. Yes. That's TNT. Yeah. So I just want to say thank you and tell Max I said hello, and I look forward to us doing some things together, and I look forward to seeing you on TV tomorrow, darling.
Yes, and I look forward to interviewing you, to have you on Urban Lifestylez to talk about your fabulous, interesting life and your new initiative with your show and bringing forth information to spotlight the African American community as well.
Yeah, we need to do everything that we can to uplift us.
Yes,
I'm going to tell you, because this last year has been, I didn't know how frustrated I was and how short my patience has gotten. Mm-hmm. So sometimes now I can't watch television. I can't watch the news on the regular. Sometimes I just have to have a blank slate up here, and that's hard for me to do. Sometimes my husband say, well, what you thinking? I say, would you believe at that very moment, not anything, but it comes roaring back. Mm-hmm. But it's been very depressing to me, Denyce, watching what we're having to go through as far as in our city with policing, as far as in our government, people trying to take our rights from us. You know, I demonstrated when I was 17, 18 years old back in the day for open housing here in Louisville, you know, and just to feel like we are going through almost the same motions, and it's even worse than almost, because they strategically put people in place to win without winning fairly. You know, does that make sense?
Like it had become to be an environment of them doing dog whistles, and I'll say them. Okay. And now it's just outright amplified.
Oh, no doubt. Straight no chaser. And they just said, we don't want you to vote, and we don't want you to win.
So we must stay, as they say, woke, and we must stay engaged.
Yes.
And you know, as I once heard it said, how you confront your obstacles determines how your story's going to end.
Wow.
And that if we're going to have excellence and success, and in this case, bringing our people and injustices and equality forward, then that amount of excellence and success, it has to be intentional, because success is never by accident. It's always intentional.
Right.
So but it requires discomfort. And sometimes I think it's the discomfort part where people don't want to be engaged in and have to go through. But the pain and the process is always, there's a purpose in it, and it is to do good for us. And I think a lot of people just don't understand it. So
yeah, and we need unity amongst ourselves. We need to coalesce. We need to be closer and tighter, and like you said, intentional more than ever. Everything, we're not doing anything by accident. Everything we need to do needs to be on purpose for sure.
Exactly. And I don't know if it's because faith comes by hearing and it's perpetual and it's not one time, or having the people out there to reach, because, you know, right now I'm sitting here thinking about when we first launched Urban Lifestylez, and I was thinking about back then, the first interview we did was with Dr. Dr. Otto Ali Troutman, who was over Jefferson County Board of Health at the time, and the initiatives that he was engaged in. And, you know, and he knew Betty Baye quite well. They grew up, but he was for equity and, you know, the sense of health and bringing changes that for the betterment of the African-American community and others. And it was a powerhouse interview, and just what he stood for and his presence here in the city, it did a lot to elevate people. And like you said, so we're going to need whatever it needs to be to bring that back to fruition.
Right. But don't you get excited when you interview people and you learn something that you didn't know, or they energize you to do more?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what the whole thing is about. So it's about empowering, elevating, educating, you know, at the end of the day. And if we know better, we can do better.
We'll
do better. Have better.
Thank you. Hello. All right then. Well, Miss Denyce, girlfriend, Sora, I want to thank you for giving me some of your time today. You look lovely. I know you have an engagement this evening, darling. But we can do this again, and just let me know when I get to come on Urban Lifestylez, because I look forward to that.
Yeah.
And tell Max I said, pardon?
A lot of people need to know your story. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's really funny. A lot of people think they know my story, but they don't.
Oh,
not really. Not, you know, some people say, oh, I know her, but they really don't.
No, right.
And because there's a whole lot of facets of me. I'm not just a singer. You know, I'm not just a thoroughbred from Kentucky State. You know what I'm saying? I am 100% all Miss Emily and John Earls. You know, so and I love my hometown. You know, even though I went away and I lived in other places, I'm a Louisvillian through and through. So I look forward to telling some of my stuff. They can't hear all my business, but I'll tell them a little bit here and there. So, Miss Denyce, have a wonderful evening, darling.
Hey, Janice, and thank you so much for letting me come through.
All right. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for being patient with me.
Oh, no question.
I'll talk to you soon, love.
Okay. All right. Keep it fabulous.
All right. That was Miss Denyce Maxwell from Urban Lifestylez, the TV show that comes on every Saturday. I think it's noon. Is it noon right, Denyce, or is it 11? Is it 11 or is it noon? Can you hear me? What is it?
11:30.
It's 11:30?
Uh-huh.
You said 11:30? Okay. All right. All right. So get up in the morning, get your coffee together, go sit and see what Denyce and Max have found out what's going on this week and who they're interviewing. Don't forget about the block party down in the West between 17th and 18th Street. As far as I know, it must be Muhammad Ali. Maybe they're going to just block the street off. I'll try to find out some more information about that. And I want to just tell everyone just to have a safe weekend. I want you to remember this pandemic is not over. So I think everyone could still be cognizant of keeping themselves safe, keeping their people around them safe. And we can wear the mask for a little while longer. We can. I mean, we got this big fight about the kids having to wear the mask at school. You know, you got teachers and bus drivers, and you got other people that your children are around. So the ones, 11 and under, they don't even have a vaccine. But the ones 12 and older, and just maybe even have a conversation with your child, because, you know, a lot of times children spew what they are given. If you keep telling your child, I don't want you to be vaccinated. But what if your child tells you, well, Mama, I want to take the vaccination? Sometimes, you know, out of the mouths of babes, as they say, you know, we want our children to be able to go to school. We don't want them to have to do remote learning. And you all don't want it either, because you don't know half the stuff they're learning. And you don't know how to do the math. No, you don't. You know, and you want them in school. But then you want to have this other crazy reason for why, you know, they shouldn't wear a mask or they shouldn't take the vaccine. You know, we eat food every day. We don't know half of what's what in some food. Y'all need to quit. So anyway, I'll leave that alone. But I had my say on that. And I mean that. I mean, this could be over in this city. I can't believe that our numbers are off the charts. Because when this pandemic first started, it took us a long time to have big numbers, a very long time. And I was really kind of proud of that we were doing the right things. You know, we were masking up, we were social distancing, even though you all were in the stores and taking all the toilet paper and all the paper towels, you know, come on. You know, we don't want to have to go through that again, you know. So if we just kind of follow these rules for a minute, that's like I heard somebody talk about the seat belts when they made seat belts mandatory in the cars. Now everybody puts on a seat belt. Gee, how difficult was that? Took us a minute, because your freedoms, we have a lot of freedoms, but when your freedoms infringe on my freedoms, I got a problem with that. So on that note, I'd have to say it's dinner time somewhere. Bon appetit. Have a blessed day. Enjoy your weekend. So it's me. I told you we were moving. So listen, tomorrow, y'all have to forgive me, but tomorrow morning, I will be interviewed by Miss Denyce Maxwell on Urban Lifestylez. So you know where it is. Check it out. I'll see you later. We're in transit. Take care. Ciao.